was at least a little bit surprising, huh? Even if I thought the Texans could win that game, and even if I thought the Texans defense had a chance to be the reason they won that game, I don't think I could have pictured like the sheer dominance from that front against a Bills offensive line that most weeks and over the last couple of years has been one of the best groups in the entire NFL. I know Deion Dawkins missed time beginning evaluated for concussion in this game. I know Spencer Brown hurt his shoulder at some point in this game, but top to bottom across the board, the Texans defense and the Texans front controlled and dominated that game in a way that I just never could have anticipated.
It broke the record. Dave, you were looking this up before they broke the record.
I was looking it up in the early fourth quarter, and by the end of it,
for Josh Allen's career. Not obviously they didn't break the single game NFL record, but Josh Allen, he's only ever been sacked 7 times in a game. And you were looking this up, I think, when they were only at like 5, and you were like, I kind of think they're on pace to do this. And then they did. It
gets to a point where, and not only is the Bills' offensive line a strength of their team, but Josh Allen is a weapon. Like, he is a hard guy to sack between his size, his speed, his escapability. So when Josh Allen goes down for like the 4th or 5th time, you're just like, I don't remember the last time I saw this. And turns out doesn't happen very often.
Well, that's what happens when it's not just one guy. Yeah. That's when it's not, you're creating initial pressure and then 3 or 4 guys are consistently winning on every single play. I mean, that ultimately is what does this. My favorite play in terms of just in kind of encapsulating what this felt like, the spin move sack that Danielle Hunter had in the I believe early in the 3rd quarter on 3rd down. So that's the play where Spencer Brown comes up like really holding his shoulder. The spin move on that play is disgusting. And we know that Danielle Hunter can do that at any moment. Sidebar, the fact that Danielle Hunter is the 2nd best edge rusher on an NFL team is horrifying.
He would be the best for all but like 7 other teams, probably.
Horrifying. Okay. So the spin move on that play is disgusting. The Texans on that play run a little TT stunt with both defensive tackles. Danico Autry hits Connor McGovern so hard. I was showing you the replay. McGovern like rolls into a ball on the ground. He is in so much pain. And that's what this game felt like the entire time, where you have a Bills front that usually are the ass kickers. They are usually the ones dictating how a game is going to go and how a game is going to feel, getting it taken to them this entire game. I'm still like kind of confused and a little bit bewildered by how this went.
I don't have a good handle on my thoughts because, and like we know the Texans defense can do this. It's not a shock to see them play that well, but the sheer dominance and
the physical dominance. Yeah. That's the part of it that really like, holy shit.
I think you're right that the Danielle Hunter one is the best, but honorable mention or contender for best also is the one 3rd and 6 first, and they sacked Josh on both of the Bills' first 2 third downs of the second half. But the first one was the one where Will Anderson took Spencer Brown on a ride around right tackle, got on Josh. Josh escaped because he's Josh Allen. That's my whole point. Like, plenty of defensive ends have lost dead to right sacks on Josh Allen. He gets away, and that's the one where he scampers all the way to the sideline, and he's looping, and Will Anderson cleans it up anyway. Because that's how relentless he is, where he chased him 30 yards across the field after beating him to get a sack in the pocket. You're not supposed to get Josh again after he gets out of a sack like that. And they did. And they did it a few times in this game.
And Will's the one who chased him down on the play that we thought Josh Allen all got hurt, where he got he hunted him down from behind. Like Will Anderson Jr. had one of the best games that we've seen a defender play this season. That was incredible.
9 pressures, 2.5 sacks, 4 quick pressures.
And he had a batted ball at the end of the game.
And a batted ball at the end of the game and nearly got an interception on that play.
It off at first.
And on that 4th and 1, that 4th and 1 that they stuff, he caves in Jackson Hawes as the puller on that play. Mm-hmm. And then the other guy, again, just speaking to the sheer like insanity that this group plays with collectively. On that same play, Kamari Lassiter caves in Reggie Gilliam on that play.
The speed at which he gets into the backfield there was outrageous. He looked like he was shot out of a cannon.
They're all insane people. Like they all play like unhinged human beings.
Bullock forcing the fumble where on that deep over they hit to, I think it was one of the tight ends, and like he flies over at the end and punches that ball out. Like Shakir, sorry. Yeah. He just like all of these dudes, the ferocity that they play with. Like I thought Al-Shaair had a really good game too. Mm-hmm. Like their entire defense was just incredible today.
We've talked about this a couple different times over the last few weeks, but Will Anderson was a very good player over his first 2 seasons. He is a different player now. I mean, he is in a tier that you reserve for like the best football players in the world. In a season where Myles Garrett is having, where he is chasing the sack record, you can, and I did, make like a full-throated argument about why Will Anderson might be the defensive player of the year. That is how good he has been this season.
Didn't we say on the midseason award? That's great. Let's find something to pat ourselves on the back for, since the Bills team we just put at the table got pantsed on national TV. But we said when we talked about Will as a defensive player of the year candidate, we were like, the Texans are sort of hanging around. If their defense can drag them into the playoffs.
And you need performances like this on national television.
That's how it happens. And don't look now, but they're above 500. That's shocking to me, honestly. Like, I knew the Texans record wasn't awful. I didn't realize like they're above 500 now, having won this game. I guess if I'm being honest, if I'm being blunt, even if I knew that the defense would make this tough on the Bills, I didn't think they had the offensive firepower to win this game. I wrote this in as a Texans loss, and I apologize for that.
And I mean, part of that, the offense really was not that good, but they got so many good field positions because of the defense, like punching out the fumble,
in the first half.
They ran the
ball for a good chunk of the first half.
They were running the ball fairly decently.
And they were getting some chunk gains through the air.
They got a couple of them, but it was like, for the most part, it felt like they were getting lucky with some of the, not lucky, the defense is incredible, but they were fortunate that they were getting some short fields, because even on the short fields, they weren't really converting them. The first 2, they only got 6 points out of it.
You get 2 takeaways right outside. I think they were both right outside the red zone, and you kick field goals on both of them against Josh Allen. I expect you to lose. And that's a testament to the defense and
they punted on a 4th and 2 from plus territory late in the game, which in most situations, I think I would have been a lot more annoyed about that than I was, considering how the defense was playing.
It's really cool to do the old school boring football guy thing and have it be a sound strategy, because
I still don't know how sound of a strategy it was. I probably would have gone for it, but
I still get it.
I like it a lot more when Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson have your the opponent's offensive line in a chokehold.
That's the thing. I know Josh Allen is Josh Allen, but there are like 2 defenses where I'm like, yeah, making the quarterback stand in their own end zone is probably a good play.
But that didn't happen. They got the ball in like the 10.
I know, but like as an idea, like that's kind of what I'm
stand near the end zone. If fine.
Khalil Shakir does not drop that ball, it is a first down for the Bills on like the 30-yard line, and your punt to put him in the end zone ceases to matter.
But that's fine. I'm still okay putting myself in that position and betting like, hey,
they did this against Seattle on Monday night, and it led to a touchdown. They got to Sam Darnold in the end zone, and it turned into a Houston touchdown. Like, it's a short list, but Houston is on it, of teams where it's like, all right, let's do this conservatively and let Will and Danielle go to work.
My favorite stat associated with this game, and this again, I think does speak to like a level of dominance that you rarely see. Josh Allen completed 70.5% of his passes today. 70.5%. The Bills had a 31% dropback success rate. It's almost impossible to do.
Yes. Because every play was throwing behind or near the line of scrimmage, him getting sacked, or like once a quarter they threw a chunk play.
Yes.
And that was pretty much it.
And the chunk plays they had were a 4th and 27 lateral, the hook and ladder play that kept the game going, which we have not mentioned. We're 10 minutes into the show.
They didn't win. They didn't win.
It would have been cooler if
it becomes an afterthought.
And then you had a little like orbit return flip to Khalil Shakir in the flat against the blitz that went for like 40 yards. That was it. And then they had a third.
And then the chunk they hit to Shakir and he fumbles.
And then the one he fumbles. And then there was a 3rd and 13 scramble in this game by Josh Allen. Those were like the Bills' reasonable offensive gains in the second half. And the big James Cook run.
There was some irony to me that the Texans defense was so good and so aggressive and so sound. And I mean, they were amazing. Don't get me wrong. But like the Bills hit them for several chunks where like they weren't home, and like the Khalil Shakir dump off that hasn't been working for the Bills as often as they would prefer this year was hitting for big yards. It's just nothing else was working.
Well, that was one of those moments where I think Matt Burke is just getting bored and he's just like, I'm going to send a pressure here. It's like, you don't need to do it, buddy. Like, you are better than them.
You are the least guy who needs to do that, actually.
And so that brings me to the larger picture. Let's spin it forward conversation about the Bills. This is obviously the type of tape that you want to light on fire the same way they did with the Texans tape last year. Is this, in your mind, this expression of the Bills offense tonight, something that leaves you very worried about what this looks like moving forward? Or is this just a game against a really good defense where you kind of get caught flush?
I think because it's against a really good defense, I'm a little bit more willing to say that this is okay. But like we talked about it a few weeks ago. I think it was must have been when they lost to the Dolphins. For a team that is on the table or at our table and supposed to be a Super Bowl contender, they have too many games where the offense gets the shit beat out of them.
Yeah.
It's pretty scary. Like the Falcons game, they got it. Again, the Dolphins game, and then this game. And again, I know this Texans team can do that in a way to you that like the Dolphins and the Falcons probably shouldn't. So it's a little bit of a different conversation. But still, like these are the caliber of teams you're going to have to play in the playoffs.
The pressure is one thing, but the fact that there are a lot of moments in this game where there's just nobody open.
That's if you watch on like the Prime Vision, nobody's open. Like Stingley's locking people up. Lassiter, like the safeties are playing incredibly well. Alshire had a really good game in coverage. He tipped it up so that who was it? Bullock, I think, ran it back and then they didn't count it because there was a penalty, but should have been a pick six.
Oh, the pick counted.
The pick, yeah, sorry, the count. Pick counted. The return for a touchdown.
It was Alshire.
Yeah,
I'm pretty worried.
Yeah, me too. I'm getting there now.
I'm gonna sit on this and not overreact in the moment. And not like people are still listening to the table episode, so let people marinate on that. But like, I'm a little nervous about like it just feels like things are being taken away of what you can count on from the Buffalo Bills. Like you can't count on the defense, you can't count on the pass catchers to get open tonight. And hopefully this is a short-term thing, but tonight you couldn't count on the offensive line. And I mean, if
we're taking that away, we're left with truly nothing.
Yeah. What do they have other than Josh save us?
Let me ask you this: it's too late to win points back with the Broncos fan base, but like, if Houston could do this to Buffalo, why couldn't Denver? What? Why?
Yeah. I mean, that's
Bo Nix could do better than what Davis Mills did tonight, and the Denver defense could get after them. Like,
yeah, that's fair. I'll say this: the Broncos defense is very good. The two pass rushers for the Texans are better than the two guys that the Broncos have. Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper are very good awesome players. They are not the freaks that we just watched in this game.
If the Bills
Denver's got plenty of firepower, and by the time a Bills-Broncos playoff game happened, Pat Surtain would be back in the lineup. Like
top to bottom, the Broncos defense is in the same conversation as the Texans. I just think that when I think about the overwhelming like force of nature feel to those two guys that dominated the game for the Texans tonight is just a little bit different.
I get it, but I could imagine the Broncos giving these guys fits the way they played.
Oh, I don't think those two things are mutually exclusive. Yeah. I think that the Texans front can be a little bit scarier on their best night than the Broncos are, and the Broncos are still very capable of dismantling a Bills team that looks like this on offense.
I'm not ready to have a conversation about pulling them off the table, but I'm worried about the Bills in ways that I wasn't 4 hours ago.
I just think we talked about this couple weeks ago where we were thinking about the Bills offense and their struggles. When Dalton Kincaid is not in there, which he wasn't tonight, you feel it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he is
because who does anything for
they
them?
Have no juice other than him, and he's a fucking tight end. Like that is a tough place to be. And this was the sort of game where, and the Texans can do this, and I think this stylistically speaks to what you're saying with the Broncos, where they just have like that fuck you game plan. Mm-hmm. So the Texans played 42% man coverage today. Kind of reminds me of the last game that these two teams played against each other, where the Texans are like, we're not afraid of anybody that you have. On 42% of those dropbacks, Josh Allen goes 5 of 11 for 45 yards, and he was sacked 7 times on those man dropbacks.
So he got sacked more than he completed a pass against man coverage.
By 2.
Yeah. That's outrageous. And again, like all their coverage, obviously the front is going to get the publicity because they get the sack at the end of the day, but the coverage players really are incredible. Like Stingley is,
other than the hook and ladder.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'll give him a pass for that one in a way. Other than Surtain, like Stingley is to me the best cover corner in the league. And then Lassiter is like, if we were picking cornerback twos, like how many are better than that guy? Like not very many. Like he's playing at a really high level. And then I think the way that Kalen Bullock is playing in coverage right now is awesome. Like the way on that interception to end the game, Stingley is playing man coverage on Josh Palmer. And he, like, as he realizes is running the deep over, Bullock as the free safety is already shaded to that side, and he passes it off to him. Bullock drives on it immediately and puts Palmer in the spot where he's like, do I keep running this? Do I climb over this guy? And it ends up Josh kind of throws it into no man's land and it gets picked off. And so just the connectivity that they play with on top of the front being the scariest thing in the world as only a 4-man rush. It's this defense. I was talking to some people earlier. We can make the case for who's the best defense. The Seahawks, the Broncos, whoever we want to do. They're my favorite because it's pure. Yeah. It is 2 race car pass rushers and man coverage, and our DBs are going to kill you.
When they blitzed, it was awesome. Bad. When they were doing like funky stuff today, they were coming back to bite them.
They were better when they did nothing and just said, we're better than you.
Let's go to the other side of the ball very quickly. Are we at a place where we think the Texans offense is trending to a point that they are like a serious team in the back half of the season? I'm not talking about like at the table series. I'm talking about like
playoffs.
Yes. Yeah. Like are them as a threat to any team they play in the back half of the year when CJ Stroud gets back?
That's so hard to answer because when was the last time we saw CJ Stroud? It was when they played Denver, right? I mean,
here's why
he kind of looked good in that game for like 10 attempts or whatever.
I think highly of CJ Stroud. I just haven't seen him play football in a month.
Here's why I'm getting to a place where I'm like, all right, I'm like at least a little bit interested in this. You go back and you watch some of those dropbacks today. They are not the Bills front, which can play, right? Like it's not a star-laden unit, but their pass rush has been okay this
If your
season.
Offensive line is bad, they should get after you.
Correct. And they did not, right? And so the fact that, I mean, we're passing off stunts.
The Jaguars didn't really either
pretty good
in that game that they played a couple weeks ago.
And so if that's going to be the case, where the offensive line is at like a passable level, and, you know, the running game is against the Bills, anybody's going to be able to run the ball. But they had the first half, they ran the ball how they wanted to. They had a 46% rushing success rate for the game per next gen. I like some of the things that they're doing with the passing game, just like some of the motion that it's really, the offense is starting to feel like dynamic in some of the ways that they're using these guys. Nico Collins back, Christian Kirk, we've seen a little bit out of Jaden Higgins. Like I don't think this offense is like a lost cause. I actually think that they're getting a little bit more interesting to me as the season goes along and as they're starting to gel a little bit. And if they can at least be like an average or slightly below average offense with this defense, the Texans become an eminently more watchable, dangerous football team down the stretch, even if it's going to be a long shot for them to make the playoffs.
I agree with this because, again, I don't think this puts them on like I regret not being able to put them on the table or anything. Like,
no, that's not the conversation.
They can get to like, when CJ Stroud comes back, they can be like the 20th best offense and have a couple of decent games.
I have more hope than that, I think.
Maybe a little bit higher than that. I don't think they're going to knock on the door of like top 12, which to me is where you become like a serious offense.
I think that's.
I don't think they'll get to like that point.
I'm not even talking about them like being serious when it comes to like playoff aspirations.
Right.
I just mean like,
can they get there?
The sky was falling after the Seahawks game. It was falling.
Yeah.
And to pull out of that and potentially get to the end of the year where everyone that roots for this team isn't having an existential crisis about the overall direction of the team and the offense, that feels like a pretty significant win considering where we were a month ago. And I kind of think we might be trending, just inching in that direction.
You realize the Jags game is weird as hell. I mean, that's just one of the more bizarre outcomes of the season. And the Jags wind up scoring 36 points in that game. Very few other teams, like they're right there with Denver in terms of like, you're not scoring more than 17, 20 points on these guys. Like they're giving up 16 points a game on the year. Without the wonky Jags game, it's 14 points a game. So yeah, like you're not asking for much from the Houston offense to give you a chance to win the game. I love going back to that Denver game, like the two of the three defenses that are like the story of the season between them and Seattle. They played an 18-15 game. Like, so yes, I think that theory holds plenty of water where CJ, the baseline for what CJ Stroud, clearly, I mean, Davis Mills is doing it. So CJ Stroud can make the Texans can make life hell on a lot of people with this defense playing this way. And by the way, their next two games are the Colts and the Chiefs.
So let's bring that up.
So they get to, go. I'm kind of into this idea of the Texans just dragging everybody good into the mud over the final month of the season.
So playing with the Athletics Old playoff simulator right now, that Colts game that's in 10 days, if the Texans win that game, their playoff chances go to 56% per Austin Mock's numbers. Wow. 56%. So maybe I should be taking this a little bit more seriously than I am in terms of like the midterm outlook and like what it could mean for the postseason. I had kind of just written that off in my mind. Maybe I shouldn't.
There's a lot there, and we had to cut the table for entertainment value, if nothing else.
Yes.
But there's a lot of football left to be played. Like somebody that we, at least mentally, have written off is going to matter in the final few weeks of the season.
Also, I want to be very clear about this. If the Texans make the playoffs,
of course,
is a very different thing than winning the Super Bowl.
Still doesn't make them a contender. I get it.
I will say, I really want to see this defense in the playoffs.
I'm into that.
Them getting a chance to just ruin someone's season sounds incredible to me.
Is it possible? Yeah, it sounds very
like
possible.
They did it last year against the Chargers when we didn't think that Houston team was that good.
What about a Denver-Houston rematch, like the 2 versus 7?
That's a banger.
First to 10 to 7.
So if that's happening, okay. So I guess right now the Ravens are not in the playoffs, but the Ravens are going to be the 4 seed most likely because they're likely going to win the AFC North. The Chargers are currently the 5 seed. The Jags are the 6 seed. So if the Chiefs get one of those spots, which I think we think will, potentially happen, I think it's going to be a question of whether the Texans can catch the Chargers, right? Or if the Chiefs just don't make it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it really does seem like there is a path for them to be the 7 seed. And then if they're the 7 seed,
they play the Chargers in week 17.
Yes, they do.
So I mean, that could be like the game that like kind of
so they play the Chargers in week 17. So that game could be hugely important.
Mm-hmm.
And then right now, obviously the Broncos are the 1 seed now. If the Patriots end up getting the 1 seed and the Broncos are the 2 seed and the Texans are the 7, then the Texans would go to Denver.
That's awesome.
I'm so into that. I'm into that.
Yeah, I'm kind of rooting for that. Okay. All right, I'm in. You guys have sold me. You guys have sold me on the Houston Texans playoff plan.
I will feel better about this when I've seen what they look like with CJ back in the lineup. But like beating a perennial power with Davis Mills in the lineup is
kicking the shit out of them. Honestly,
kicking the shit out of
on
them.
that
Absolutely.
side of the ball. They kicked the shit out of them. That was extremely impressive, and I think I'm with you. I think that unit. I'm be interested in seeing that in the playoffs. If nothing else, I've been all aboard the Will Anderson train since like August.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I owe it to myself to be rooting for Will Anderson to be in the playoffs.
Many games as we get to see of him this year would be better.
I'll never forget that moment. I was at Texans training camp and I was talking to one of their coaches and he kind of just looked at me and he was just like, it's coming. like he's just, and a guy that wouldn't bullshit me,
mm-hmm.
like a guy that just like, it was all on background, all just kind of like sitting there talking. And he's just like, you should see him during practice right now. I was like, all right, I'm in. Like, you didn't have to twist my arm. I'm in. And it has happened.
I do think that is the last thing I want to say about Will Anderson. Almost everyone thought he was a surefire, cannot miss. You take him at the very top of the draft. He's incredible pass rusher.
The highest floor possible.
And he is better than promised.
Yes.
He is incredible.
Yeah, if I remember it correctly, I feel like a lot of people saw him as like a high floor but maybe lower ceiling player.
Right, because he's just not that big.
And that he has surpassed any sort of projection like that. Like he's both.
There is a tier of defensive players in the NFL that are like the all-world alien players. And
mm-hmm.
he is now a member of that fraternity. Mm-hmm. Like it's the Miles, it's the Micahs. Like it's a small list. And he is, in my opinion, has ascended to that place.
Miles, Micah, Max, TJ.
I don't even think those other 2 guys are in there at this point. I think it's a 2
maybe peak Max, but like not.
I think
now,
it's
maybe.
a 2-man group that Will Anderson is joining.
I don't hate that.
I think the guys
at that position, yes, it's
all
just
the white pass rushers are one step down. It's Aiden, Max, and TJ are all now. They're all in tier 2.
I forgot about Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah, we're bucketing, but I think that those guys are in a slightly different stratosphere, and I think that Will Anderson is climbing to that place. All right, as Dave mentioned, if you guys have not listened to our conversation about who are the 8 teams remaining at the table,
can I just say this? This has been in my head all day, like ever since the game went final. And this is why I didn't want to freaking do this. But you remember the old SportsCenter commercial with the late, great Stuart Scott, where LeBron James is like refilling the copy machine and Stuart Scott drops by the copy room and sees him doing like grunt work and just goes, chosen one, huh? And just like laughs and walks off. Every time a team that we backed fucks up, that's what I hear. Just like, no, they're at the table, huh? Okay, chumps. Cool.
Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. Like, I don't. The Colts got destroyed by the Steelers 2 weeks ago. And
So
I mean,
it's
that's
a
a strange
strange league.
score, but like it's a strange league. Like this is going to happen to a lot of different teams.
Please go listen and tell us how you feel about it, because the Bills have shaken my faith tonight.
We'll see how it goes over the rest of the season. If you guys are listening to this on Friday morning, the Week 12 preview is available wherever you get your podcasts. It'll be available on the YouTube channel at 12 p.m. Central. Really had a good time in the Week 12 preview today. I think you guys will enjoy it. So please check that out if you have not. For now, that is all we've got. Appreciate you guys listening. We'll talk to you very soon.